You ever think about how like we as people just like constantly try to complain about things and blame something? So whenever we feel terrible, it's like we try to look for things to blame other than ourselves. Maybe, you know, it's work, maybe it's friends, maybe it's someone who's pissing you off for some reason. Maybe it's your parents because you're living with them. But once we're alone, all we can do is blame ourselves.
Whoa!
And that's just like human nature, you know?
Oof, yeah. Are you very hard on yourself?
If I don't have any like checks and balances for myself,
Yeah.
I'll just like be the shittiest person ever, right?
Have you ever been the shittiest person ever?
I mean, I did let myself go at some point, like a few times.
How so?
At some point, like I had like kind of an like alcohol addiction for like, you know, a few months.
Shit, yeah.
Where I just dealt with all my problems with just like drinking. I would just be like, oh, I like this feeling.
The worst part is that it works.
Yeah, like high key, especially because like alcohol is so accessible here.
Yeah.
And if you have your own, all you want to do is just like take a sip, like every time you feel like
Yeah,
that.
don't do that.
Yeah. I feel like a lot of students, I can't say for everybody, but maybe a lot of students go through something similar in college because they're used to like a more strict home environment. And so letting loose in college is the only way they can let go of stress, I guess.
Yeah, especially the people who I knew as very overprotected and very sheltered and very structured. Once they hit college, they're like, woo!
Yeah,
You know?
because they're away from their parents and
Yeah,
all the
exactly.
structures and shit.
You're just holding in like one big fart for like for like 18 years, and then you come to college and it's just like
Yeah, exactly.
exactly like that, right?
I don't know if I want to put it that way, but yeah, that's yeah. Just like a lot of stuff, like a lot of emotions that they never dealt with until
Yeah.
they come to college and they're forced to.
Yeah.
So
Do you think you've gotten it all out? Are you pretty much done now? Have you
I'm
gotten
a
out all
perfect
of your-
person. I have
Oh, so you're
elevated
perfect
from this
now.
dimension.
You've transcended this world.
I transcended reality.
You are now one with the universe.
No, I'm definitely not perfect as a person. And
Yeah. Oh, really? That's too bad because I am.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I guess like personally, I think everyone should have a growth mindset, you know? Like just
Wow, so deep.
as like someone who's always willing to learn and always like open to growth regardless of where they are. Like being stagnant is just you might think like you're good, but you realize that you're not after something happens to you and you need to improve on yourself.
Yeah, that's one thing that I think everyone hits really hard at one point when they're like 18 to 23, somewhere there. You get this big ego hit where you think, oh man, I've got it all figured out now, but you've never known what it's like to kind of crash from your best. And then you're like, oh damn, I used to be so on top of it. How dare I could have thought that I had it all together, you know?
Yeah, I think everyone has to go through that wake-up phase,
Yeah.
or they will, you know, at some point.
Yeah, and you got to realize that like you've never figured it out. You're always growing. You're always learning. You know?
Yeah, and it's
Oh, this is so cliche. Oh man, I'm cringing very hard.
you know, cliches
Oh.
are, you know, a cliche and popular for a reason.
Yeah, I try to remind myself that. It's funny how a lot of the life advice that we hear all the time is like pretty reasonable advice, but it's like we hear things so many times and you know, you gotta hit rock bottom before it's like, maybe I should have just actually listened to that and wrote it down and reminded myself, you know?
The stuff we're taught as kids that most of us didn't get at all, like they're applicable now because we have to
Yeah.
deal with it.
Yeah, like don't cope with your problems with alcohol. Like
Yeah.
it takes like we all know, but here we are, you know?
It's always easy to take the easy way out, but it's better to just take a look at yourself in the mirror sometimes and be like, what can I improve on? And instead of pushing it off onto other people or like things around you, I think just being critical of
Yeah.
yourself is really important.
Do you feel like you have really bad coping habits now? Anything that really sticks out to you? Like for me, for example, right? One of my bad habits is whenever I'm stressed or whenever I feel insecure, I just compulsively message people.
Oh, honestly,
You know what I mean?
I do that too. Wait,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
the same for me. Sometimes I get overboard with it and I
Yeah.
overshare and it's
Oh, I'm a huge oversharer.
really?
Yeah, I'm a huge
Oh.
oversharer, yeah.
Yeah, no, same.
Yeah.
It's like an easy way to like load off all your responsibility of emotion onto someone else.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta do that. You gotta have people you can count on that can like soak up all your stuff, but it's
Yeah.
like, it can't be someone you don't know that well, that you haven't really provided anything to, you know, you haven't really been there
to know
for.
them.
You gotta find the right people.
I think you can also go like overboard even with people that you do like have a good relationship with. I know like I've experienced some friendship fallouts where it's just like boundaries were crossed and no one said anything until it was too late. It was just too toxic because we kept just unloading all of our shit on each other.
Yeah.
It was just too much. So
You know, I was reading this book called Love Me, Don't Leave Me. It's about the psychology of abandonment issues and insecurity and stuff. And it's like, when you're younger, you develop these core beliefs about yourself and about the world around you. And no matter what, you really can't change them because you've just soaked them up for so long in your childhood. And really all you can do is just recognize when those are being triggered and then just not react to it. That's really the best way. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I mean, if I know what you're talking about, it's like stuff that, childhood traumas that cause you.
Or not necessarily trauma, but even like, oh, I wasn't really the popular kid back in school, and maybe now I'm worried that someone's not gonna like me. Or for example, I wasn't always that good at school when I was younger, so now I'm worried that that people think I'm stupid. You know what I mean? Like just hypothetical examples, you know what I mean?
No,
Those are probably the most common ones, right?
Yeah, like the stuff that, affect you as a child because you were just like growing up, you're like most affected by them. Different things can like trigger those feelings again. And it's really important to just like sit back and be like, this is not the thing that happens fault necessarily. It's because I have these things, these feelings that I haven't let go of. And this speaks to like trauma and other stuff as well, but I don't want to like go too deep. Also, I'm not like a psychologist, so.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely. It's always touchy to talk about these things because you never feel qualified enough because there's always someone that's been through more or experienced more or knows more or is a psychologist. So it's like, but it's like stuff that everyone thinks about at some point,
Yeah.